doesn't say, now you have my attention, now I want to know more. He or she might be there, but probably doing the emails or checking emails or doing any other things, and probably get a call and say, oh, I have to leave now, something urgently happened. So make sure after the first slide, it's the quick key facts that you deliver really the message. And then comes the problem. No matter whether you develop a product or not, or you have an IP or not, it has a reason why you exist. So you need to make clear that there is a big, big problem out there. Not only is it big, but you know how to solve it. You know how to solve it, and prove there is a customer validation. So again, deliver a customer story. Don't explain we might solve this or that. No. What did the customer actually say? Make sure that you understand what the key issues of the customers are, and make also sure that the problems that you identified are on the top of your company's or customers' need to have solution, not just a nice to have. If it's a need to have solution, it's a higher valuation, it's a lower risk, and lower behavior change. But if it's a nice to have, then it's a lower valuation, higher risk, and higher behavior change. In a nutshell, I'm bleeding now from the neck. If somebody comes to me and says, oh, I'm going to sell, I have a solution for you, I'm going to give you medicine that gives you more, generates more blood, that's probably a nice to have. If somebody else says, oh, I have a painkiller, I have something that really stops the bleeding, that's the need to have. I want to have this now. Have this always in common. Something like, is it a medicine or is it really a painkiller? And then in your solution, describe what it actually is. Is it a hardware, software, or service, or a combination? Whatever that is, make clear how you're going to solve the big problem that is out there. Everything after the problem slide needs to address the problem. If there is a single slide after the problem slide that does not address the problem, then it's a nice to have, but not the need to have. So make sure that after the problem, every slide you present needs to address the problem. So in your solution, don't get too detailed. As said, describe your product not from a product and features perspective, but again, from the customer's perspective and how you're going to solve it. If you can use illustration, use illustration. If you have IP, mention you have IP. In a nutshell, say, this is what we do. This is the vitamin A, B, C, or it's a specific painkiller. Tell exactly what it is. Be specific. Don't be abstract, or you don't use generic words that nobody actually has. Nobody knows what it actually means. Don't use acronymous names so that most people actually don't know what it actually is. We talk about the problem. We talk about the solution. We talk about the problem. This is the big problem. How ugly as it is, it's not only ugly, but it's big. And this is how we're going to solve it. And the team slide explains why you will succeed. The team slides are going to explain why you want to succeed. Make sure that you deliver the message of why your team is so uniquely qualified to run the business. So don't tell us, for example, we have combined 48 years of experience. Or even don't say we have 48 years of combined experience in widget development. Say Mustafa was the CTO of IBM or Ooredoo or Vodafone and focusing on widget development. Or Fatima, she was on the original IEEE founding steering committee for ARC widgets. Or say that Saleh, he was a sales manager for company XYZ. He grew the company in widget development from 5 million to 25 million real in just 2.5 years. Then it has a meaning. If you don't relay your teams and advisors' background to the business, then it has no meaning. This is the single most important slide. This is why you're going to succeed. If this is weak, investors are going to not invest in you. So this is the single most important, the biggest factor in the final investor decision-making progress. Let's talk about the market opportunity. You need to identify the market size, the trends, use graphics and reliable sources, and use always a bottom-up approach, never a top-down approach. Don't say as a top-down approach, for example, Gartner Group estimated the total addressable market is going to be 25 billion real in the next 2 to 5 years. It has no meaning. You have to do a bottom-up. You put down how many customers that you talk to, how many customers have that problem, and then you just develop it from bottom up. Never do a top-down approach. Describe who are your primary and secondary customers, and so forth. The way you could do it, as an example, is two major questions. Number one, how many potential customers have this problem? Think about it: a lot, a few, and are they already doing something against it? And how many more would they do if they would have your solution? And the second major question is, how much do they actually care about the problem? Do they really care? Do they really have a pain? Or is it, again, is it a need to have or just a nice to have? Is your solution a medicine, or is it really a painkiller? And how many of them are actually doing something against it? And how much would they actually pay if they would have it? If they would have your solution, how much would they actually pay? In numbers, what you could do is you look at what is the total available market. If you are, for example, an e-learning platform, what you do is you just estimate, say there are 20 million students around the Arab-speaking countries, and the served available market is those who are in the e-learning segment. Out of the 20 million, probably 10 who are engaged in at least one course in the e-learning course. And out of that, the company's share of market, which is your business, is going to be maybe 2.5 million over the next 3 to 5 years. Very simple math. What you also could do is putting everything into context. This is, for example, an example. Let's call it Akadocs. Akadocs, what they do is they integrate 3 distinct technologies into one single platform. This is the social networking platform, and this is the content management platform, and this is business intelligence into one single platform. And the underlying magic is that they create the user networks around specific subjects. Very simple. They're creating user networks around specific subjects by integrating all of the 3 into one single platform. The next is competition. Oh, I just have to do this again. Okay. Never say there's no competitor. Never say the very simple reason there might be a reason why there's no competition, because it's not worth. Competition is actually something positive. Don't be afraid. Say that as a competition. Competition means market acceptance. No matter what you think, there's always competition. At least you're competing with the current way of doing business. What you do is you use a competitive analysis tool, something like this, and you need to be very, very honest. Be very honest. What you do is you put down on the left side the key criteria. Again, not from your perspective, but from the which perspective? Customer's perspective, exactly. You go out, you talk to customers and ask them what are the key criteria from your perspective in order to pay money for any kind of technology. You list down the key criteria, and here are the different competitor, and at the end, that's you. Never say you fulfill all the requirements, because that's not true. And investors will not believe you if you just say it. It just brings down your credibility. Put very objectively the key criteria from a customer's point of view, and put down the key strengths and deliver the message that the areas where you are strong are the ones that really matters to the customers. Let's talk about the business model. A good business model actually begins with an insight of human behavior or human motivations that end up with a high profit. What it means is you need to understand for what the customer would pay money. What are the key triggers that the customer would not just like your product, but would actually pay money for it? So one way of using it is the business model canvas. It captures the value creation, which just means the creation, the delivering of capturing value. What you do is, many of you probably are familiar with it. On the customer segments, you put down the different customer segments. Based on the segments, you have different ways of actually reaching them. And based on the different segments, you have different relationships. And you have the offering, what is a specific value proposition, and then the key activities, whether it's a software development, whether it's a supply chain management or problem solving, whatever that is, and the key resources. That might be money, that might be a building, that might be brand, that might be IP, whatever that is. And then you have the key partners. And below, very simple, you have the revenue streams. The comes from the customer and the cost side. And putting in a very simple nutshell, the revenue should be bigger than the cost side. These are some common revenue models. The brokerage from eBay, advertising, intermediary, merchants, the iTunes model, or direct model that Dell sells directly to its consumers. These are the models that are more relevant for us. Product service and sales, transaction fee based on a particular fee that goes on your platform, subscription for accessing your platform, license for licensing your technology, and an advertisement. Let's go a little bit more specific. We use the same example. Let's say we call it again Akadox. What they do is they integrate free content and university-owned content into their platform. They add some social networking capabilities and business intelligence. And what they do is they provide it for free to the students and to the faculty members. It's like a next generation of Blackboard. It's much more cooler than actually Blackboard. So in turn, they charge the institutions 25 real per student per term to have access to the platform. What they then do is they're capturing how students actually learned. For the first time, they could analyze what were the preferred learning preferences of students, because each of us learns differently. Some people learn best by reading books, some others by communicating, some others by collaborating, or whatever that kind of media it is. And these intelligence, they're capturing it and providing feedback to the faculty, institutions, and other web providers in order to generate additional value in the whole ecosystem that they provide. And in a later stage, they will add publisher content and get a transaction fee, and as well sell the learning intelligence at the later stage to publishers. Very simple in stages. And then the projections. Let's talk about briefly the projections. Again, the numbers are not so relevant, but it's more about the assumptions. Investors want to better understand whether you actually thought about the key triggers, key trigger points. In this case, they're going out in fall 2000. They went out fall 2010 at one university for free, and then the next semester introduced to 3 other universities, paying 25 real per month per term per student, and then they introduced in each new term to new universities, and at the same time penetrated the existing sites. And these are some assumptions, such as 1 transaction, after 2 transactions per student, and the maximum transaction. Never assume you're going to penetrate any customer 100%. So in this case, they assumed very realistically the penetration would be maximum 30%, which is very realistic. But never come up with an assumption that you're going to penetrate one company 100% fully, because that's not going to happen. What you then do is you use simple rounded numbers. Again, the objective over here is not doing your due diligence. Don't put down you're going to generate revenues in year 5 of 25,535,324.35. It's irrelevant. Use simple and rounded numbers, and make sure you put top the potential and down what is the capital need to actually get there. And what you then do is, for the first capital that you're going to raise, 500,000 in this case, you break it down. What are you going to do with the money? It's the use of funds, personal compensation, development costs, sales and marketing, and G&A. As an example, I put down what are the percentages. Don't let an investor think. You prepare already. Don't give him or her time to actually think about it. The moment you put something vague or something inconsistent, the audience is going to think about, oh, what did he actually mean? I don't understand it. Then you lost the person. So take out all the thinking away. Then you're going to talk about briefly the current status, about the product, customers, suppliers, financial, etc. The milestones, you put down the key milestones and put it into a Gantt diagram. You show down the activities, specific functions, durations, how they all interlink to each other, the durations and the deliverables. And last but not least, you need to be prepared to talk about the risk and how you're going to manage the risk. You need to talk about the risk. Very, very important. Again, investors think about everything. Think about the risk side. Before you move on to the soft skills, let's just summarize in the hard skills. What do you think is the message on here? Yes, say it loud.
Remove the fluff.
Exactly. Get rid of the fluff and? Yes, excellent. Get rid of the fluff and focus on the meat of the business. Yeah, excellent. You saw the presentation before? Okay, let's talk about the soft skill. Now we learned what to sell, and now let's think about how to sell.